Canada's World Cup qualifying continues into 2022 with 3 matches, 2 on the road, 1 at home, and to break it all down, we've reached Sonja Missio, freelance soccer journalist and co-founder of Unusual Efforts. Sonja, thanks for joining us. I want to talk about the home match in Hamilton first. We know about the reduced capacity because of COVID reasons. Will that have any effect at all in terms of the home field advantage?
I hope not. I mean, it's going to be 12,000 people who really want to be there. Tim Hortons Field has actually started to become kind of this hotbed for Canadian soccer, especially with, the Canadian Premier League. And I think it's really starting to emerge as sort of this new kind of area of Canadian soccer that people are really looking forward to. And those 12,000 people who are going there want to be there. They're going to be making a lot of noise, waving a lot of flags. The Voyageurs, who are the Canadian supporter group, have been working tirelessly to make this such a great event. I think it's still going to be a massive spectacle, and good luck to everyone who's trying to re-get tickets for that, because it's the hottest ticket in town.
No Alphonso Davies, of course, that news coming out last week for this window. Who steps up in his place, and does that change John Herdman's approach at all for these 3 matches?
For a casual viewer, this looks like, huge devastation, when I think for Herdman and the rest of the team, this is more of an inconvenience. Obviously not ideal, but they've played without Davies before. He's had injuries before, and they've managed to make it through. He's really become sort of this talisman of the team, but what is making this team so successful is that it's not a one-man show. It is really a whole team coming forward. And I think somebody like Buchanan stepping up to his place, he's definitely a worthy, I don't even want to say replacement, but he is somebody who can come in and definitely, show the rest of Canada that Davies isn't the only person to look at. Obviously, what makes Davies such a special player is that he has his speed. He's able to play multiple positions. He's had stellar performance at Bayern Munich, even in MLS. He's, had a terrific career. But there are other players out there that are able to come in, and he's not the only one I think the casual viewer should be looking at. I mean, Kyle Laird has had a fantastic season. He just tied for most goals scored for the men's national team, tying Dwayne De Rosario, which is incredible. He had 14 goals for the Canadian men's national team in the 2021 calendar year. He is pushing the development of Canada, or the Canadian soccer as well. He just joined as a co-owner of Simcoe County, along with Julian de Guzman and Daniil Henry and Janine Becky as well. So I do think there are other players that may not necessarily make the headlines for, the average fan, but there are, or the casual fan, but there are a lot of people that we should be looking to on this team that are completely worthy of this sort of superstar status that we've given to Davies.
Okay, Sonja, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's a healthy point total from these 3 matches?
I do think that, you should always play to win. And I think if you take the foot off the gas now, it may have sort of detrimental repercussions in the future. It's getting into headspace. It's, knowing that you were so close and then starting to lose it. I think the game against the US will definitely kind of be sort of that not make or break, but kind of once again sort of solidify what Canada is becoming. As a point total, I mean, it would be great if we can continue this winning streak, or this non-losing streak, I should say. But at the end of the day, you have a team like Italy who just won the Euro, who is now, in actual danger of not even qualifying for the World Cup. So it happens to the best of teams. But as a fan, I would say that just keep playing their game, and they will be able to make it in.
Okay, one last one for you. It's about the first match in Honduras. And of course, you want to win every match in World Cup qualifying. But would a draw be considered almost a victory for Canada, considering their past down there in Honduras?
I think so. I think with Honduras, pardon the pun, but there's always going to be fireworks. There's quite a bit of history with the team. There's quite a bit of history with the fans and whatnot. Draws aren't necessarily bad. I think in North American sports culture, we're kind of confused about draws and whatnot, but a draw isn't bad. Yes, you didn't necessarily score more goals than the opponent, but at the same time, they didn't score more goals than you. And so we kind of have to look at things game by game. Obviously, there are many factors when you actually play the game of why a draw ended up the way that it did. But if it's because you can hold off and defend against your opponent, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And while you should never necessarily play for the draw, I do think that if they're able to hold off Honduras from beating them, absolute victory.